I had this idea all planned out about how I was going to make this video that told you what you need to know when going to Rolling Loud. Then I saw another video about Rolling Loud that showed me that my video was going to be trash. And then it hit me. I need to narrate over a fire video that still tells you what you need to know when going to Rolling Loud, but include live footage from my trip all the way from Los Angeles, Cali, all the way to Miami, Florida, Rolling Loud 2021. So without any further ado, I bring to you what you need to know when going to Rolling Loud. Just got to Dallas. Alright, y'all. First things first. This is me. Right here. That's my Instagram in case y'all didn't catch it at the bottom. But let's jump right into it because I don't want to keep y'all waiting. I want to give y'all these top 5. Now, it's not in any particular order. It's just 5 things. Starting off with number 1. Go with a Uber over a rental. Okay? Now, I thought that when I made the video, I was actually going to suggest for you guys to do a rental. No. But then after I went over the facts, I actually saw that I spent about $270 over 4 or 5 days of my Rolling Loud experience on just Uber alone. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. It would be way better to get a rental. No. But then after checking out that a rental is going to be somewhere between $45 and $50 per day. And then on top of that, you got to get your parking pass for the 3 days, which is about $100. And then you spend whatever little bit of gas. It's not going to be too much gas over the 3-4 days that you have the car. But you have to return the car at a certain level. So when you really look at it, you're talking about, $370. Let's just add that $30. We don't like to be caught off guard. So you got to add in that extra for stuff you don't see coming or you couldn't account for or whatever. So $400 for the rental compared to $270 for just straight Uber/Lyft. And since I'm nice, man, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include a pros and cons chart so y'all can clearly see the difference between the two options. Y'all know I love all the people that support my videos and the channel. So I'm going to go ahead and do y'all that solid. And while we at it, go ahead and like up the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Be sure that notification bell is turned on for all content so that way you can get the content as soon as it drops. But the biggest difference in going the Uber route or the Lyft route is now you don't have to be the one responsible as far as like scratching up a rental or crashing a rental, and you don't necessarily have to be all that sober. If you don't want to be, I suggest that you are sober when you get into an Uber, but you don't have to be all that sober because you're not the driver. And aside from just waiting for your Uber to get to you, which a bonus tip, you and your crew, or if you're traveling, if you do it by yourself, I thugged it out, I did it by myself. You guys walk 2 to 3 blocks away from Rolling Loud and call your Uber to go to that spot instead, because if you are at the actual venue, it'll be crazy trying to get your Uber to fight all that traffic to get to you, and they charge more because of that. So I found that when I was walking further away from Rolling Loud when it was over, the Uber prices were getting cheaper. All right, so that's just a bonus tip that I want to throw in there. But if your pocket's running deep, you and your crew just, call, you walk your extra few blocks away from the venue, you call for your Uber, and now, like, nobody has to drive. You don't have to worry about none of that. So if you have the money to do a rental, just invest that same money into an Uber, and you should be good. You shouldn't have to spend any more than about $270 If you do more trips than I did, obviously it'll be more expensive, but you still wouldn't even go past the amount that you would go if you got a rental car. Now let's get into tip number 2, which is do not wear your best shoes to Rolling Loud.
Travis Ones out here? Ain't no way. Ain't no way, boy.
Just wear some beaters. Trust me. Just put on some throwaways, some dirty shoes, because you never know when the stage that you want to go to see the artist that you want to go to is on grass or concrete or dirt or whatever. Do some research about the weather and where your Rolling Loud is going to be held, because for me, I'm thinking like, okay, Miami, Florida, the sun's gonna be out. It's cool, just put on some beaters. So I did. I put on some Vans, whatever. But then it started raining, so I was even more happy that I did not bring none of my fire kicks out to Rolling Loud. And of course, it's not gonna just be raining and tropical weather everywhere. That is something that's kind of specific to like Florida. But even still, the situations of like grass and a lot of people and dust kicking up, even if it doesn't rain, then you wearing some all white forces and people just kicking up dust and you can't do nothing about it. So trust me, go ahead and just put on some beaters. Nobody is really looking at your shoes like that, because everybody understands it's like thousands and thousands of people. All right, it's thousands of people. Everybody understands that. If anything, just make sure your fit is on point, from the top and the shorts, whatever. And I mean, don't go out there just looking crazy on your feet. You want to have something that's like decent, or something that shows everybody like, oh, I did this specifically because I knew like I didn't want my shoes to get messed up. Like when you put on some Vans, like you pretty much are telling everybody else, I'm either trying to be comfortable or I don't care if these get dirty. All right, so just do yourself a favor and save your good shoes. Now it's time for tip number 3, which is pick a regroup spot for you and your squad. All right, because once you get into the venue for Rolling Loud, or at least this is how it was for Miami, it was no service on the Hard Rock grounds. All right, it was no service at the Hard Rock Stadium. It didn't really matter what stage we were at. It was pretty hard to get service. It was one of those things where if you found a sweet spot, it was going to be like near the front, and you couldn't move from that sweet spot once you did find it. So if you was lucky enough to find it, that's one thing. But if you never find it, you out of luck. And then once you do, you got to stay there. It's no service, so there's no texting, there's no calling, there's none of that. You can't look at the schedule for who you want to see, none of that. So pick a regroup spot that everybody knows. Like every time it's like no performances going on, or if it's like the top of the hour, so like if it's like 5 or 6 or 7, like anything at the top of the hour, go back to this specific spot. If y'all don't have a regroup spot and somehow or for some reason y'all get separated, it's over with. It's over with. So many people that you might as well just finish out the whole rest of that day just either solo or just with your new 2-man group or whatever, because all y'all are not meeting back up. There's just too many people. The venue is way too big, and like I said, it's no service, so you might as well forget about it if y'all get separated. So pick that regroup spot. We almost done, y'all. Now it's time for tip number 4, which is screenshot the set times. Okay, now referencing the last tip when I was saying like there's no service at the venue, or at least there wasn't any service at Rolling Loud Miami, what you want to do is have an idea of who you want to see perform, what stage they're going to perform on, and what time they're going to do that. But you can't check. Oh, and by the way that you check is it's either 2 ways. You can either download the Rolling Loud app for that specific venue, or that city or state. So for me, I downloaded the Rolling Loud app, and it gave me access to everything that was Rolling Loud Miami. So I'm pretty sure if you get the app, it'll be the same thing for Rolling Loud New York, same thing for Rolling Loud Cali. But you could also reference the other ways to reference the Rolling Loud Instagram. But mind you, because you have no service, once you get to Rolling Loud, you have to look at all that stuff before you get there, have your screenshot, and then you'll be able to pull it up at any time, and then that way you won't miss who you really wanted to see perform. And now it is time for the last thing that you should know when going to Rolling Loud. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications. And just as a thank you too, because this last thing that I'm gonna say is really for location. It's location based, and not all the locations of Rolling Loud are going to be the same. So I'm going to actually say 2 things as the last thing that you should know for Rolling Loud, just so that it's, you know, a legit 5, because one of them is not going to count for everybody, but the other one will count for everybody. So the first thing that I was going to say as the last thing that you should know for Rolling Loud is to bring your bug spray. All right, bring your bug spray, because the mosquitoes, whenever you seem to go to another state, especially for me going from Cali to Florida, the mosquitoes go crazy on me. I have some footage I'm gonna show of what the mosquitoes did to my arm. Like, I got like 3 bites all in a triangle around the same area. But like I said, you know, the mosquito and the bug spray advice is not gonna go for everybody. So yes, bring your bug spray when you're gonna go to places like Rolling Loud, California, and Rolling Loud, Miami. All right, but something that can go for everybody as the very last thing that I'm gonna say when you're gonna go to Rolling Loud is first come, first serve at every stage. There's 4 different stages that we had at Rolling Loud, Miami. So there's going to be different stages. I don't know if they're going to do 4 again, but there's going to be a different number of stages that all of the artists are going to perform on. And sometimes your favorite performers, by the way, are going to be performing at the same time as each other. So you got to choose. But anyways, it's first come, first serve. And at a lot of the stages, there are no seats. Okay, it's standing, so that they could fit as many people as possible. So what you want to know for Rolling Loud is, since there's different stages and there's no chairs, it's just standing, and it's first come, first serve, you want to get to wherever your artist stage is going to be performing. You want to get to that stage and really just kind of post up. Like, if it's somebody that you could kind of, you know, be hyped for and kind of not, okay, move around on those artists. But if it's like an artist that, like, no matter what, this is the one artist you want to see out of all 3 days, my bad, out of all 3 days, then go ahead and on that day for that artist, go to that stage like 2 hours early and just sit through the other people that you don't really care about and just make your way to the front, because anybody can get to the front in any stage as long as you're there long enough. If you try to get to the front right when the person's gonna perform, it ain't happening. Like, you can't push your way to the front. It's not going down. But let's say it's Travis Scott performing as the main person, the last closer on the main stage, the Ciroc stage. If you go right when he's supposed to perform at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, you're not getting to the front. Just forget about it. All right, it's over with. But if you want to see Travis and be in the front and literally be right there, like in front of him while he's performing and stuff like that, then get there at like 8 o'clock. And I know it sounds like a long time to wait that 2 hours, but as long as you use the bathroom, as long as you eat, like at that 8 o'clock point, and then at 8 o'clock just go and sit through like the 3 artists before him, then the crowds leave. Like, they watch who they want to perform and then they leave. So every time a group of people leaves because their artist is done, you get closer and closer to the front. So since you started your mission at 8 o'clock and you full and you use the bathroom and all that kind of stuff, the closer it gets to 10 and 11 o'clock when Travis is going to perform, you know, in our example, then the more likely you're going to be in the front row when he finally comes out. So that's my advice to y'all. My last piece of advice and the 5 things that you should know. If you made it to the end of the video, you know you got a bonus one. Actually, y'all got 2 bonus ones because there was a bonus one in the middle of the video, and then we made 2 things that you should know for the last part, for the last piece of advice for the people that stayed this long. So, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and don't forget, like up the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch y'all at the next one. I'm out.